Most of you have probably heard about Janet Jackson's troubled marriage to her ex-husband, Wissam Al Mana, a billionaire. But do you really know just how bad things were? Was Janet being manipulated? Or did she stay just to fulfill a contract and walk away with a reported $200 million? Well, Janet has finally spoken out, and let me tell you, it was a nightmare. She was practically a prisoner in her own home. Let's break it all down. Janet and Wissam tied the knot in 2012. During their marriage, they had—
I just want to keep it real with you guys for a second. Yes, I separated from my husband. We are in court, and the rest is in God's hands. Now for that something else.
As for what occurred, sources advised Janet to have seen the red flags from the very beginning as a result of her surroundings always told her that she was being brainwashed by her toxic husband. In fact, Janet's family didn't take to Wissam and voiced their concerns early on to someone LaToya, like her sister, even stated that she was kept completely out of the loop concerning their relationship, claiming she didn't know Jan was married until Shay heard about it through the media. The thing is, Janet is said to have wanted extravagant, five-star wedding with friends and family present, but she gave in to Sam's demands for something low-key in accordance with his conservatism, and that was the only thing she would soon come across. The initial compromise of many, and allegedly Janet has been spilling on all the other compromises she had to make. For instance, on visits to the Wissam family in Qatar, she ditched her concealment, hair extensions, and makeup herself in traditional clothing. She talked about how in place of her X-rated lyrics, she wished fans in Shalom meaning God willing at the end of every show and even featured the Arabic word in one of her song's choruses. And additionally, Janet moved to London in order to appease them that they also owned a house in Doha, Qatar, and an apartment in the Trump Tower in New York, but she resented that. Wissam forbade her from meeting her family and friends and tried to keep her away from the public eye. Other than this, she even cancelled the European and UK segments of her tour in 2016, just a few days before she was scheduled to announce she would be postponing her performances indefinitely. As she and Wissam had began making plans for the family, she had already allowed him to dictate to her appearance and even the way she performed at concerts, and she felt that she was losing both her mind and her following. Now, based on reports, they separated shortly after the baby was born because of cultural differences between her and Wissam became even more obvious after Isa arrived. Allegedly, Wissam was forcing Janet should alter her behavior, and for those who noticed while she was married to Wissam, she became more private and was always dressed in clothes that covered her from head to toe, and overall he had become more controlling, which became really suffocating for Janet. Then, even after giving birth, the baby was never seen in public, and Janet was reportedly forbidden from leaving the house while she was nursing, and they just couldn't agree on how to raise the baby because of their cultural differences, so that the best thing to do was to go their separate ways. Well, based on what came out after that, there were reports claiming that it was more than just a difference in beliefs, and her older brother, Stephen Spilling, was a pleasure for Randall Jackson. The specifics of his knowledge of the marriage: he actually said that my sister suffered verbal mistreatment, being called the B word on a daily basis, and she felt like a prisoner in her own home. He told this to People magazine. About the situation, there's a lot of pain. Janet's been through a lot with her divorce. I've been through a lot. We all have. Have I told her you've got to move in with me? Or I'm going to go over there. And there's going to be hell. She was really pissed off. I told her I don't care any longer. I'm sick of it. It's just too much also. Despite reports that the couple's split had to do with the difference of religious beliefs, he said that wasn't the issue he was having. Like, I have a lot of Muslim friends and they never behave that way. It's a personal issue that he needs help with, and I'm going to pray for him too. But I am not going to allow her to live in that situation. She's my baby sister. That there was nothing amicable, and when inquired about Janet's health following the separation, he said it was a tough time. And noting that Janet had been breaking down, he repeatedly broke down in tears on stage. Even reflected on how, while performing her song, went about during her opening night in Houston, she was overcome with emotionally, adding, what you saw in Houston, it was her situation coming out. What she's been going through. She is custodied, and he, of course, allowed her to bring the baby on tour. But it's constant the tour almost didn't happen. But by the grace of God, we're here, and we're very prayerful. Something else that was said concerning the toxic union between insiders was that Wissam never cared about Janet's family, especially her mom, apparently Janet, who's always been extremely clicito. Her mother was juggling the demands off a newborn with comforting Catherine, who was going through a rough patch, but Wissam is said to have been rude, with an absence of concern for his mother-in-law's plight. Apparently, for a man who claims family is at the heart of everything he does, it seems strange that he was not supportive. When Wissam responded to the claims he made, it appears nothing of the nature happened. In fact, soon after the news of their separation, he updated his website, WissamAlMana.com, with a passage from the Quran saying, "You shall most certainly be tried in your possessions and in your persons, and indeed, you shall hear many hurtful things from those to whom revelation was granted before your time, as well as from people who have come to believe in God to other beings beside Allah. But if you remain patient in adversity and conscious of Him, this behold is something to set one's heart upon." He also took to his website with a picture of Janet and a positive message titled, "I adore the most exquisite reading person in the entire world, appreciates your divine love and your eternal support, and for being my best friend, I love you so much. Insha, we will be together in the great forever." In addition to his lawyers issued a statement saying that he is not going to dignify these particular and deeply hurtful allegations with a response following what was stated in the statement, the breakdown of his marriage
to Janet Jackson is a cause of great sadness, Tom Allman, and it's the state of health and privacy of their son, Issa, that remains his sole focus right now. I have no idea who between the two is telling the truth. But at some point in 2018,